Hello, hello, hello. Christopher Mosley here with another Read Aloud. And this book that we're going to be reading right now is called Dreamers. And it was written by Yuyi Moralez. So I'm really excited to read this book. I think it's really interesting and important. I want you to think of something right now. What if you dreamed of a new life? And what if that new life came to you? What if that new life led you to a new country where no one spoke your language and you felt alone and ignored? Now, something that I think is so important and special about this book is the message and the theme, which hopefully, after reading, we'll kind of be able to understand what that is. Today we're also going to work on the comprehension strategy of inferring and visualizing. Remember, readers need to infer and visualize to help them better understand the story and what they are reading. Now you may not know this, but I cannot read without my reading glasses. And today I chose flamingos because they represent belonging to a community and being loving and having an open heart towards that community. Dreamers by Yuyi Moralez. I dreamed of you, then you appeared. Together we became resplendent life, you and I. And here it says amor, love, amor. I'm going to stop here and make an inference. I think this is about Yuyi and her child. Already I'm noticing the vibrancy or the brightness of the illustrations. The colors are so bright and full of life. The way she and the baby are flying towards each other like if it were meant to be. Also, how this written text stands out. If you notice, the hand holding the pencil shows that it's the one that is doing the writing. So, amor, love, amor. The hands of the pencil is showing me that she's an artist. Amor means love in Spanish. So we have amor, which is love. We have a love in English, and amor again, which is love. So love, love, love. The word resplendent. It says, together we became resplendent life, you and I. Being the images and the colors and the love, I would say that resplendent maybe means beautiful life or bright, loving life. I'm going to continue reading to see if I can find out what else is going to happen. Sometimes the answer will be in the text, or I may have to infer. Figure it out even if it's not written in the text. Let's see and find out. One day, we bundled gifts in our backpack and crossed a bridge outstretched like the universe. Adios, corazón. It says adios, corazón. That means goodbye, heart, in Spanish. So it looks like she's saying goodbye to a place that she loves. And it looks like she's traveling over a bridge, possibly to a new place. I wonder where she's going. Do you have any inferences to why she may be leaving a place that she loves and traveling to a new place? Why would somebody move to a new place if they love their country? One thing that I noticed in the illustrations is the bridge has barbed wire. And that's wire that has spikes on it, kind of like thorns on a rose. So it shows me that this is kind of a serious or dangerous journey. And if you notice, the land that she's leaving, the colors they use are kind of dull. And this journey through the dullness makes me think that it's a dangerous journey. I see snakes, but I also see birds and butterflies. And I'm pretty sure that birds and butterflies are symbols for traveling and for rebirth, for a new life, for a new chance. She's also on this journey by foot. She is walking. So I can infer that possibly she could be immigrating from Mexico to the United States since we are connected by land. And she's also speaking Spanish. And when we made it to the other side, thirsty, in awe, unable to go back, we became immigrants. So was my inference right? An immigrant. Migrantes, you and I. Migrantes is immigrants in Spanish. The sky and the land welcomed us in words unlike those of our ancestors. Imagine being in a place where no one speaks your language. The land welcomed us in words unlike those of our ancestors. Ancestors are the people that lived before you that you're related to. So these words are unlike those of their ancestors. So we see give thanks. Thanksgiving is an American holiday. We have written backwards. Speak English. What? Say something. So imagine coming to a new place where nobody speaks your language. What can you infer about how she's feeling at this time? How would you feel? Maybe if you or your parent has immigrated to the United States, maybe you have felt this way. How did you feel? Or maybe you can ask your parents or grandparents, how did they feel? There were so many things we didn't know. Unable to understand and afraid to speak. We made lots of mistakes. In this little conversation bubble, the word hello is clearly written, and then the author decided to put a bunch of random letters together to show what she's hearing. So she may know the word hello now, but then when you continue your sentence, it sounds just like a bunch of gibberish to her because she doesn't understand the language yet. So it's like, hello, like that's how she's hearing the English. Just like if you hear somebody speak a language that you don't speak, it kind of sounds like that to you too. One of the mistakes she made was playing in a fountain because you're not allowed to play in fountains. Now I know in Uptown Greenwood we have a fountain that you can play in, but that is meant for that. So imagine more like a pond fountain or the fountain in front of Lander or the fountain in Uptown that is in front of Sugar. You're not supposed to play in that type of fountain. And so here you see her getting in trouble because she doesn't know. How do you think walking around a city could help her? Have you ever walked around somewhere and discovered something new? I have an example. Gray Street Park. I've been many times and I've seen a dog park and I've seen a pavilion and I've seen a sensory garden and I've seen the trail around the lake. But the more I went to visit and the more I walked around, the more I discovered all the bike trails and all the nature walks and just how much is hidden inside that park. Also, when I moved to Greenwood, the only way to really learn everything that Greenwood has to offer is by driving around and discovering things, discovering places, stores, discovering new ways to get home. Of course, the GPS helps, but that gets you straight to where you're going in one specific way. Where if you drive around and allow yourself to make mistakes and discover new things, that's how you really get to know a place. You and I became caminantes. That means walkers. Over here we see pet adoptions, adopt me. Over here we see a protest, power to the people. Si se puede, that means yes we can. Hear our voices. Justice is to not be alone. Thousands and thousands of steps we took around this land until the day we found ... What do you think they found? A place we had never seen before. Do you know what this place is? Suspicious. Improbable. Unbelievable. Surprising. So you said this place is a library. What makes a library unbelievable, surprising? Yes, it could be how many books they have or how big it is. But it's also the stories. A book can be anything. It can be scary, it can be funny, it can be surprising, it can be unbelievable. Reading can transfer you into so many different types of worlds. Unimaginable. Sometimes you read something and it's just something that you've never even thought of, where we didn't need to speak. We only needed to trust. And we did. First library card. Look at all the color and all the happiness in the illustrations. It's so vibrant. It makes you feel good. Books became our language. Books became our home. Books became our lives. We learned to read, to speak, to write, and to make our voices heard. So do you notice how the boy is growing up? So some time has passed, and now they're starting to learn to speak English and to write English. And to understand English and make their voices heard, because now they can communicate. Something else I noticed is that she's holding a needle and a thread and she's sewing the pages of a book together. So to me, that's saying that she's creating the book. Because many times the spine of a book is binded with thread. And sometimes you can see that in the books that you read. Sometimes it's a staple, sometimes it's glue. But many times for hardcover books, it is sewn. I don't know if you can see the thread coming in and out. So that makes me think even more that she is the author and illustrator. Someday we will become something we haven't even yet imagined. But right now, let's look at this illustration. She's drawing some of the birds that we've seen drawn throughout the story. This is possibly a rocket. There's a helmet. There's a guitar. So maybe a musician, maybe a race car driver, maybe an astronaut. But right now, what do you think they are right now? We are stories. We are two languages. We are lucha. We are resilience. We are hope. We are dreamers. Sonadores of the world. We are love, amor, love. And something I noticed up here really close in this journal is a quote. And it says, "There is something changing in our life all the time." And that is true. And we have to change with it. There's so many things going on in our world right now that have forced us to change. And we have to change with it. We can always be better. We can always learn. So that was the book Dreamers by Yuyi Moralez. Now I want you to close your eyes and imagine a book that you have read. What world did it transport you into? How do you think the library helped her and her child? How did books save her? What theme or message did you get from the story? What do you think the author wanted us to learn by reading Dreamers? Do you think you understood the theme? The theme was the importance of literacy and reading. What are some ways literacy, which is being able to read and write, what are some ways literacy can benefit a person? Why is it so important? Why do you need that? Now, the author, Yuyi Moralez, was born and raised in Mexico, and in 1994, she immigrated to the United States with her son. At that time, she barely spoke any English. And since then, she has written and illustrated many books, including this one, which is a New York Times bestseller. She's also received so many awards for her books and her writing, including a Caldecott honor. Imagine moving to another place where you don't know the language and starting from nothing by yourself. You started to learn all these different things, and then you became an author and illustrator and won all these awards and became a best-selling author. Remember, anything can happen. So keep your dreams alive, love, change, grow, and always strive to be better and to be more. In this case, books really help the author find her path and her purpose. How can books help you? That was a great read. Until next time, adios.